school. You're at school right now. Okay? We're learning, and we're going to learn a system. Okay? I'm going to do my best to teach you a system, all right, that is a consistent way to wrestle. All right? Within that system, I'm going to give you all the options, or all the things you're going to face, and you're going to have an option for whatever he does to you. Okay? That being said, there's not one point in this where you can tune me out. If you tune me out, and your mind's in some other place, it's on Xbox, your girlfriend, or whatever, all right, you're missing a part of the system, you're not a complete wrestler, and it's going to be very tough for you to keep up with what I'm doing. Let me get a partner. What's that name again?
Brian.
Brian. All right. My opponent's got 3 lines of defense. All right. I have to understand those lines of defense in order for me to effectively go out there and be able to take my opponent down. Those lines of defense are his hands, or his head, his hands, and his hips. I have those lines of defense. He has those lines of defense. If I want to get a takedown, okay, if I want to get to his legs, say I want to get to his legs, I want to get to Ryan's legs here, I got to get past his head and his hands. And then if I want to get a takedown, I got to beat his hips. Okay? I had you go out there and I didn't give you any instruction or any technical advice on how to do that. But you guys basically just did that. You brawled. When you were brawling, what you were trying to do was beat his head and his hands. And then you hit a shot, and that shot's going to lead to a way to beat his hips. Okay, now, we're going to make that a little bit more precise as we go through this technique. My basic goal, okay, and I'm going to do a lot of talking here in the beginning, so stay with me. My basic goal, anytime I touch my opponent, is to get him out of his stance. I do that by getting inside position. Inside position is dictated by one part of my body. That part of my body is my what? Is my what? Well, you know because you've been coming on. All right, elbows. Okay, my elbows. And you're saying your elbows. Yeah, my elbow. So listen, my elbow. Notice right here, we call this an inside tie. My left arm is inside his right arm, but really my left elbow is inside his right elbow. Notice we don't say hands because what he could do here, what Ryan can do is he can do that. And notice his hand is actually more inside of my hand, all right? But my elbow's inside his elbow. I have the inside position, okay? I have inside position here. My elbow's inside his elbow. We call it an inside tie. All right? It's an inside tie. On the right side, notice I have what we call a collar tie. My right elbow inside his left elbow. All right, this is called a collar tie. All right, inside tie with my left hand, collar tie with my right hand. If this is an inside tie, this is a collar tie. This would be called a double what? Double inside tie. Does that make sense? This is a double inside tie. Double inside tie. Inside tie, double inside tie. This is a collar tie. This is a collar tie, and this is an inside tie. This would be called a double what? Double collar tie, right? Makes sense, right? You guys are smart kids. This is a double collar tie. This is an inside position. Notice, you can grab my elbows here, right? Notice, both my elbows are inside his elbows. When I say, Coach, that's not really an offensive position, I use it tons as a transition spot. I can go from here to here. I go from here to here. I go from here to here. What's this called? My headlock, right? Inside position. My elbows are inside his elbows. I can go from here to here. What's this called? Underhook, right? Inside position. My elbow inside his elbow, okay? I'm always trying to get inside position. That's the bottom line. If I get inside position, my offense gets better, my defense gets better. So when you're brawling later today, when we're going to do a hard drill and I have you brawl, your whole goal is to always fight inside. Always fight inside and stay inside. Some of you guys were outside, your elbows were like this. Notice that's out of your stance. You always want to be inside, our elbows are always in. Now, I gotta beat his head, I gotta beat his hands, and then I gotta beat his hips. We're gonna do a double leg here. How many of you guys know a double leg? Everybody, right? Every single one of you guys know a double leg. You don't know it? Oh, you do? Alright, so listen, everybody knows a double leg, alright? Here's the deal. It's not about knowing the double leg, it's about being able to do the double leg. You with me? You must be able to do it when it counts. Alright? There's a difference between the double leg that the state champ's hitting and the first year wrestler. Or you know what? The college wrestler and the high school wrestler. You with me? Alright? I want to make your double leg better. I'm not just trying to teach you a double leg, I'm trying to make your double leg better and more proficient here on the mat. Alright? Our goal is first to get him out of his stance. I'm going to do that by getting an inside tie, collar tie. Now, I'm going to change level and direction. You're going to hear those two things constantly this weekend. Change level and direction. This is a direction change. This is a level change. I can do those two things at the same time. Okay? I have to change level and direction at the same time. If I do that, I'm going to give myself an opportunity to beat his first 2 lines of defense, his head and his hands. Now, I'm going to beat his head, his first line of defense, his head. I'm going to beat his head by being lower. My head has got to get lower than his head. I watched you guys warm up. I watched you warm up, okay? And I watched you do the brawling and drilling. And this is how your head looked. No joke. Your head was like this. Now look, I just told you, for me to shoot, my head has to be lower than his head. Look how high my head is compared to his head. Very difficult for me from this position to get underneath him. I can't shoot until my head's lower than his. So I gotta get my head all the way to here so that I can take this shot. So, as I contact him, I want my head right here in the pocket. So when I circle and pull, notice, my head is lower than his head. Does that make sense? My head is lower than his head. I'm going to get my head lower than his head by doing two things. One, I'm going to pull down on his head, which is going to cause his head to raise up. And two, I'm going to change my level. So as I come down, he comes up, I get underneath him, I attack his legs. It's a simple concept. I got to make that happen. I make that happen by putting pressure on it and by changing my level. Second, his hands. I got to beat his hands. I'm going to beat his hands by being inside. We already talked about it. My hands are going to be inside, which is going to allow me to go to the legs. My head's going to be lower to him, which will allow me to get underneath his head. I'm going to beat his first two lines. I'm going to beat his first two lines of defense by being inside and lower. Okay? I beat his first two lines of defense by being inside and lower. I'm going to beat his first two lines of defense by being what? Inside and lower. Inside and lower. Okay? Simple concept. Inside and lower. If I can get inside and lower than him, I can beat his first two lines of defense. Now, one more thing. Anytime I contact my opponent, I told you to get the guy out of his stance. I want to put weight, I want to put pressure on this guy, because the better he gets, the harder it is to accomplish that goal. Okay? I put weight on him not with my arms, I put weight on him with my body. Okay? And I put weight on him with my body by changing my level. So when I change my level, I put weight on him. I put weight on him as I change my level. Okay? If I just pull on his head here, it doesn't do much. But as I circle and pull, as I change my level, it puts a ton of weight on him, a ton of weight on Ryan. It makes him struggle to stay in his stance. I circle and pull, and it's like to stay in his stance. I release his head, notice. That upward pressure that he was exerting to stay in his stance made his head raise up. When his head raised up, I was in a position to attack. Now I can attack to my double leg. Now, double leg. My chest, anytime I lower my level, my chest is going over my thigh. What I'm trying to do is get ready to penetrate. I'm putting myself in a position to penetrate, to attack. I'm going to take a knee over toe penetration. My knee drives over my toe, my arm shoots towards his leg. Now here's where most of you guys stop. I told you his third line of defense was his what? Hips. Okay. So, this is the strongest part of his body. I'm going to try to get to defense today on the defensive side so I can show you how strong your hips are. But his hips are his strongest part of his body. Very difficult for me to beat his hips going this way, going forward. My goal is to get all his weight going this direction, across the body. So I'm going to drive across his hips. If I stop here and I put this knee down, very tough for me to score. This trail leg, my left leg, has to step up high. So as I penetrate here, my right knee hits that, my trail leg steps up. Now look at my angles right here. I want my angle to be across his body. I want to get my hips to a position where I'm able to drive up and across him, and I want to get all his weight to his left foot. So it's not just get his legs or get two of his legs, or it's get his legs in a position where now I have an advantage, and I have an advantage at an angle. I want to drive up and into my opponent. I want to get all his weight to his left foot. From here, I drive my feet. I go into him. Now, let's look at my stance. My head is up, my back is straight, my butt is down, my hips are underneath, and my knees are bent. All right, from here I'm pulling my elbow back into my stance. I'm not reaching here. All right, I'm not pulling the leg to the outside. I'm in a good solid position, and I always move the same way. I go into Ryan, and then I circle back. Watch. I'm going to circle my butt, my hips in front of his body. I circle back, into him. Circle back, into him. Circle back. The entire time I'm in my stance. Okay? I never come out of that stance. Here's what I see a lot from kids. You know a double leg. All right. You know how to kind of set a guy up. See, I see this. Look like that. Okay, well, it's kind of the same thing, but not really, okay? Notice, you guys put your hand up here by the waist, you pick this leg up, comes to the outside, all right? If he moves away, I'm in a terrible stance, all right? A good guy, a skilled guy, will pick me apart with that. Inside tight collar tie. I'm going to show change direction now from here. I penetrate, knee explodes over my toe. I drive, I cover distance. My knee explodes over my toe. Now this is the key. Force yourself to take a big step here. My left foot steps up high. You need to notice my angle. I'm ready to drive across. I go into him. Now, 1 or 2 steps in. Now I change level and direction again. I circle back. Into him. Circle back. Into him. Circle back. The entire time I'm in my stance. I never bent over. I never stood up. I never stopped moving. You with me? Listen, you don't need to be fast here. You need to be fluid. Okay? It's not about speed. It's about being smooth and fluid. One more time. Inside time, call time. Circle, change direction. Double leg. I penetrate. and he goes over my toe. Now watch. Trail leg steps up high. This is what you miss. You put this foot down and his knee down like this. Trail leg steps up high. Look at my angle. I'm perpendicular to him. Third line of defense, the hips. I'm getting across him. I go into him. Now what do? Circle back, circle back. Into him. Circle back. The entire time I'm in that stance. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.